Welcome back to Monday mornings here on WICR. I'm Matt Ricker.
I'm Kate Adriani, and you told me about the story last night. Actually, Matt, it was on 60 Minutes. It's the U.S. Women's soccer team fights for equal pay, because it's actually pretty astronomical the amount the amount that the men's team makes, the national team makes, and then what the women's team makes. And like they said, they actually live off the money that they make from the national team, where for the men it's actually it's like extra money for them.
Yeah,
It was heart-wrenching to watch this.
it was very eye-opening as well, and I'm gonna read a quote, a very powerful quote that Carly Lloyd spoke about last night to Nora O'Donnell on 60 Minutes. She said, "We feel like we're treated like second-class citizens because they don't care as much about us as they do the men," end quote. And she is considered the best female soccer player in the world and captains the U.S. women's team. And she was spoken to as well as co-captain Becky Sauerbrunn and their teammates Christian Press and Morgan Bryan. And I was, when I heard about all this, like they did these comparisons between what the men get and what the women get, and the contracts are set up very differently.
Oh, extraordinarily differently. So the pay structure that they agreed to in 2005, then agreed to again in 2013 because they were getting nowhere. It's a consistent salary up to $72,000 a year, bonuses of wins of $1,350. They also get health insurance and maternity leave. But the men enjoy no guaranteed salary and fewer personal benefits, but they can make up as much to $17,625 for a win. A win. So then they compared Hope Solo's salary and the goalkeeper Tim Howard salary in 2015. So Hope Solo was paid $366,000 in total by U.S. Soccer, and then Tim Howard was paid $398,459, and he only played in 8 games, and Hope Solo played in 23 games for the United States. That is ridiculous. The amount that she plays more than he does, and he still makes more money.
Yeah.
And the men's team is awful. I don't mean to be rude, but the men's team is ranked 24 in the country currently, throughout the world. And the women's team is still rated number 1. Mm-hmm. They get a parade, but this is something that they need to. They're asking for a bonus of the same amount. That's all they're asking for. Mm-hmm. And they're ranking in more money than the men's team. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but if your women's team is making more money than the men's team, you should be able to bring more. Then you should be able to get people to sponsor them and to make more money for them and to have them get paid. Yeah. I understand the difference between, like, even in high school, even to college is a little different because there's laws involved. In high school, I went to an all-girls high school. So all of the money that was donated for sports went to everything for the girls' sports. But when it goes to sports in public schools, it mostly gets used for the men's teams. Yeah, it is not used for the women's teams. We went to public schools and their softball fields were horrible.
Yep.
Absolutely horrible.
No, I could say, going to public school, you definitely notice that the men's team gets more stuff. And, in New York State, it was, I think, the year I was graduating, 2014, that cheerleading was finally recognized as a sport. I don't know if it was nationally, but no, maybe just New York, but cheerleading is finally now recognized as an actual sport.
Yeah.
And, that should have been done years and years ago. I mean, it shouldn't have been something that, was taken lightly and brushed off, and not in just soccer and everything. There should be equal pay. I mean, there's no
Right.
reason. There's no reason not to.
Exactly.
Men and women are doing the same
They're
types
doing
of jobs.
the same exact job. And what also annoys me is that they fly the men first class. They
Yeah.
fly the women coach.
Coach, yeah,
And they have no leg room. They have to, and then they've got to be the best of the best, and they're flying coach.
yeah.
That's
That's disgraceful.
It's disgraceful to the women. And I remember Carly Lloyd saying, I think it was Nora O'Donnell had said, "Do you think you should be paid more than the men's team?" And she said yes.
Yeah.
She said, and then O'Donnell said, "Why?" And Carly Lloyd says, "We win. We're successful. We should get what we deserve."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. They should get what they deserve. They won the World Cup the year before. And yes, in the summer, they didn't go as far as they should have in, the Olympics. But
Right.
according to FIFA, they're still number one in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but that's huge. It's not something that should be taken lightly, and especially because, President Obama did say this team taught all America's children that playing like a girl means like you're playing like. Well, not say the last part of that because I'm not a bad A. So, but they are teaching young girls to fight for what they need to fight for,
Yeah.
and the equal pay is something that that every single woman should be able to get.
Yeah, it's really not right, and it should be addressed, and not just in the soccer and sports industry, but also in general.
Yeah, so I think that what they're doing is fighting for equal equality for not just women in sports, but for women all over all over the world. And I think that's something that should be, making headlines and should have grab people's attention.
Yep.
So I think it should be. I think that's something that should be. I think I'm passionate about the subject because I went to an all-girls high school, so I know what it means to be treated well. But these girls are getting treated like they're just not treated properly, and not getting equal pay. I think is something that should be. It should be something that everyone should get.
So hopefully there'll be more like 60 Minutes pieces and other investigative types of pieces on this, and that this will be addressed, and that they'll be able to reach an agreement. But we'll take a short little break again, and then when we come back, we'll do some Dancing with the Stars, and I'll talk a little bit about the AMAs. So keep it right here, and we'll be right back.